So I'm going to talk a little bit about my role in working on These Days.
These days, every day, elevate, watch face, rush teeth, penetrate the streets, stay jiggy and repeat.
So the track's produced by myself and Joseph Banks. Features additional instrumentation from BEINGNICKDRE, vocals from Hope Katana, and written and recorded by Malik Lives. This is an interesting one to talk about for me because my role in it is a bit different than what it typically is for most of the productions that I do. The actual track focuses on a beat made by Joseph. Obviously you would have heard them work together, or all three of us work together on Cope and Smoke. We recorded the original demo to These Days here.
I've been great, now I'm stepping like it. I want an angel who cuts me out like a sexy lioness.
And again, it was to the two tracks that Joseph sent over, which is typically how we work on a regular basis. We recorded as much as we can to the two track, and then once we were cool with it, I asked Joseph for the stems, he sent them over. I did a little bit of production on there, sent it back over to Joseph, he did a little bit more production, and I took a lot of those additional elements that he had and resampled them, and that's what became the outro. I believe Malik had a session with Joseph and Lucas where they would have recorded eye to eye, and around that time I think Lucas must have did some additional playing on the record. He played the electric piano that you heard, the electric bass, and the electric guitar towards the end of the song and the final chorus. So I heard a version of it with all those elements in, and I'm hearing it and going, okay, I've got to now respond and review it from a critical perspective, but also just listen to it as a music lover and think, okay, what do I love about this? What do I feel like are the elements that need to be the centerpiece of each section of the song, and what needs help supporting the performance? Like, some things work, but do they work here? Should we move them around? That's kind of what it was for me. It wasn't much of a, let me go in and play some new elements, or let me reprogram the drums, or run this through this bit of hardware or plugin. It really wasn't a lot of that. All the ideas were there. It was just, again, finding the best ones or fine-tuning and editing just to get it to sound like a finished record. But yeah, once the record was done, production-wise, I bounced down the final stems. I sent them over to my friend Jazz at Space Music Studio, and he mixed the record. And as a mix engineer, Jazz is dope. I've known Jazz for a long time, going back to when we were both grand producers back in the day. Yo, my bro.
Man, like 50.
How are you, my guy?
I'm good, man. You okay?
And Jazz is a really cool guy to work with just because he's so open. We had so many discussions about the mix. There were certain things that I was really appreciative that he spoke to you about firsthand as well. But a lot of it to me was bro, I trust you enough to let you explore and indulge on the record, and then we can review after. But just don't feel, I don't want anyone working with me to feel too restrained in what they can do. So I think on my part, it's really important to communicate the non-negotiables when I'm working on a record or sending it to be mixed by a mix engineer. But again, those non-negotiables have to be agreed with the artist. We need to be happy with how something sounds and commit to that if that's a non-negotiable. There's a particular Rick Rubin credit I like where it said produced by Rick Rubin rather than produced, and that kind of felt how I worked on this record. It was more of reducing it to the parts that I thought suited the record the best, and I think it worked out pretty well. It was definitely a lesson in restraint for me, and I'm very, very grateful, and I'm very proud of how it turned out. Yeah, that's that one done as well. I ain't got much else to say.